All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning. I am Tanvi Taneja. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on his way to the United States to attend UN General Assembly reiterates India's commitment to responsive and inclusive reformed multilateralism. India and Mongolia sign MoUs in areas including space, disaster management and culture. Industry and trade welcome government's decision to cut corporate tax rate, saying it will boost economy. GST Council rates cut in several items including hotel tariffs. 12 people killed in a bomb explosion near holy city of Karbala in Iraq. And in boxing, India's Amit Panghal to take on Shakhobidin Zoirov of Uzbekistan in the summit clash of World Men's Championship in Russia today. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is now on way to the United States on a 7-day visit to attend the UN General Assembly meet and various other programs. This year, the UN General Assembly has the theme Galvanizing Multilateral Efforts for Poverty Eradication, Quality Education, Climate Action and Inclusion. In his pre-departure statement, the Prime Minister reiterated India's commitment to reformed multilateralism, which is responsive, effective and inclusive. He said that through his participation in UN events, he will showcase India's success in realizing the Sustainable Development Goals. Details from our correspondent covering the visit of the Prime Minister.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will arrive in Houston after a brief transit in Frankfurt. He will interact with top US CEOs from energy sector. On Sunday, he will address Indian community at Howdy Modi event jointly with US President Donald Trump at NRG Stadium. A community reception and groundbreaking ceremony of Eternal Gandhi Museum follows next. Then he leaves for New York. On 23rd September, he will address the Climate Action Summit at UN headquarters. Atul Tiwari, AR News, Houston.
Our correspondent spoke to the Indian ambassador to the US, Harshvardhan Shringla, on the significance of the Prime Minister's visit. The ambassador said that the Indian-American community is the organic bridge between India and the US, adding that the US President joining the Houston event is historic and unprecedented.
Point of view that the Prime Minister has a very comprehensive program in the United States. He arrives in Houston this Saturday, and soon after he arrives, he has an event to meet some of the top CEOs of energy companies. As we know, Houston is a global hub for energy. Our cooperation with the United States in the energy sector has increased significantly because of our interest in US crude oil and LNG. We are also looking at technologies that help our own industry.
India and Mongolia have exchanged documents in areas including space, disaster management and culture. 2 MoUs were signed in the fields of disaster management and space cooperation in the presence of President Ramnath Kovind and visiting Mongolian President Khaltmaagin Batulga in New Delhi yesterday. Other documents which were exchanged include Cultural Exchange Protocol and a comprehensive work plan between the Ministry of Fisheries, Animal Husbandry and Dairying, India and Ministry of Food, Agriculture and Light Industry of Mongolia. An official release said, reciprocating India's gesture of exploring the e-visa scheme for Mongolian short-term travellers, Mongolia announced visa on arrival scheme for short-term travellers from India. On Mongolian request, India announced an additional $236 million line of credit for the ongoing petrochemical refinery project in Mongolia. Today, the Mongolian president will travel to Agra and Bodh Gaya. Commerce, Industry and Railways Minister Piyush Goyal will be on a 2-day visit to the UAE from today. He will unveil the design of the 4-story India Pavilion in the Opportunity District at the Expo site in Dubai. Briefing media in Dubai, Consul General Vipul said that the pavilion would represent the rich history and culture of India, close ties between India and the UAE. The building will embody India's worship of nature and will be environment friendly. It will also showcase the 150th birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi being celebrated this year. More from our correspondent. We are unable to play the report from our correspondent right now. Moving on. For quick news updates, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts. You're listening to the morning news. We now have for you our report from our correspondent in Dubai, Kanchan Prasad, reporting on the Commerce, Industry and Railway Minister Piyush Goyal's expected two-day visit to the UAE from today.
India is expected to participate in a big way at the Dubai World Expo 2020 scheduled to be held next year. The model of the Indian pavilion for the Expo will be unveiled by the Union Minister Piyush Goyal at a function today in Dubai. 27 focus sectors have been identified to showcase India's advances in space, pharmaceuticals, information technology, renewable energy and telecom sectors, and also India's strength in innovation and startup. This is in tune with the opportunity for economic activity that India provides on its path to becoming a $5 trillion economy by 2025. Kanchan Prasad, AIR News, Dubai.
Captains of industry and trade have welcomed the slashing of corporate tax by about 10%, saying that it will give a big boost to the economy and make Indian industry more competitive globally. The Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industry, FICCI, said the tax reliefs will certainly prove to be a much-needed booster in tackling the current slowdown and regaining the growth momentum. FICCI President Sandeep Somani said lowering of income tax on corporates had been a long-standing FICCI request. Hailing the announcement, Confederation of Indian Industry, CII Director General Chandrajit Banerjee said the government has fulfilled the demand of the industry, which will make it more competitive globally. ASSOCHAM Secretary General Deepak Sood welcomed the move, saying this will not only give a boost to the domestic economy, but also attract foreign investors to invest in India. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman had yesterday announced reduction in corporate tax rate to 25.17% from the current 30% to bring them on par with Asian rivals such as China and South Korea, hoping to boost demand and investments. Briefing reporters about the decision in Goa, the Finance Minister said a new provision has been inserted in the Income Tax Act with effect from the current fiscal. It allows any new domestic company incorporated on or after 1st of October 2019 making fresh investment in manufacturing an option to pay income tax at the rate of 15%. Prime Minister Narendra Modi hailed the decision, terming it as historic. In a tweet, he said it will give a great stimulus to Make in India, attract private investment from across the globe, improve competitiveness of the private sector, create more jobs, and result in a win-win situation for 130 crore Indians. The GST Council has slashed tax rates on several items, including hotel room tariffs and cut and polished semi-precious stones. The Council recommended tax rate increase in some other items. The Council has also decided to link Aadhaar with registration of taxpayers under GST and also examined the possibility of making Aadhaar number mandatory for claiming refunds. The 37th GST Council meeting was held in Goa yesterday under the chairmanship of Finance and Corporate Affairs Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. Finance Minister announced that no GST will be charged for hotel rooms having tariffs of up to 1,000 rupees per night. She said 12% GST will be levied on the hotel room from the existing 18%, whose tariff ranges between 1,001 to 7,500 rupees. Hotel rooms having tariff of 7,500 rupees and above will be charged 18% from the existing 28%. The minister said that the GST Council recommended to lower 12% cess on 1500cc diesel and 1200cc petrol vehicles with a capacity to carry up to 13 persons. The GST Council has also recommended to reduce the GST rates on slide fasteners, marine fuel, wet grinders and dried tamarind. Ms. Sitharaman said that caffeinated beverages will be charged 28% tax plus 12% compensation cess in place of the existing tax rate of 18%. The GST rates on railway wagon and coaches have been hiked from 5% to 12%. Union Minister for Food, Consumer Affairs and Public Distribution Ram Vilas Paswan has said that Manipur's capital, Imphal, will have a full-fledged regional office of the Food Corporation of India, FCI, by the beginning of next year. Mr. Paswan is on a two-day visit to Manipur. Speaking to media persons in Imphal, Mr. Paswan said, in the last 5 years, there is no increase in the price of food grains provided to the beneficiaries of NFSA.
We have enough rice in our stock. Our godown capacity, it is just double, and we are worried how to sell it, how to dispose of it. And for last 5 years, not a single paisa has increased in rice, in wheat, post grain, or even sugar. Here there are 16 districts. 9 districts there are godown. But I want each and every district there must be a godown, either FCI godown, a state government godown, or private godown.
West Bengal Governor Jagdeep Dhankar has justified his visit to the Jadavpur University in Kolkata on Thursday to rescue Union Minister Babul Supriyo from Gherav by the students. The governor said in a statement that he visited the university as its chancellor. In Iraq, at least 12 people were killed and several wounded when a bomb exploded in a minibus packed with passengers outside the holy city of Karbala last night. The explosion occurred when the bus was passing through an army checkpoint about 10 kilometers south of Karbala in the direction of the town of Al-Hila. The official said all those killed in the explosion and subsequent fire in the bus were civilians. And in boxing, Asian champion Amit Panghal will today take on reigning Olympic champion Shakhobidin Zoirov of Uzbekistan in the finals of the World Men's Championship in Ekaterinburg, Russia. And now for an overview of today's newspapers, it's over to Abhishek Kumar.
Thank you, Tanvi. Finance Minister's announcement of corporate tax cuts dominates front-page newspaper headlines. Big bang stimulus for corporates, headlines the Tribune. India Incorporate gets 1.45 lakh crore rupees boost. Stock skyrocket, leads the Hindustan Times. It's a cracker for move, says Festive India Inc., writes the Economic Times. Ahead of the Prime Minister's visit to the US, the Hindustan Times, quoting India's envoy to the UN, Syed Akbaruddin, writes, India will soar high while others stoop low at the UN General Assembly debates. The Tribune, however, hints UN chief may rise human rights situation in Kashmir. Former Union Minister Swami Chinmayanand being sent to 14 days judicial custody gets front-page coverage in most newspapers. The Pioneer quotes the MP confessing to sexual harassment, "Main sharminda hoon," that is, I am ashamed. The Statesman front pages a landmark ruling of the Kerala High Court saying, right to access internet, part of the right to education and right to privacy. And with that, it's back to you, Tanvi.
Thank you, Abhishek. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, on his way to the United States to attend UN General Assembly, reiterates India's commitment to responsive and inclusive reformed multilateralism. India and Mongolia sign MoUs in areas including space, disaster management and culture. Industry and trade welcome government's decision to cut corporate tax rate, saying it will boost economy. GST Council rates cut in several items including hotel tariffs. And in boxing, India's Amit Panghal to take on Shakhobidin Zoirov in Uzbekistan in the summit clash of World Men's Championship in Russia today. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.